Chapter 26. The body was found in the backyard in a shallow grave, a short distance from the back fence line, Matt said, gesturing toward the rear of the McKnight property. Joe Foster agreed. I was here. And the claim is McKnight murdered Ed Black in the garage and buried the body in the backyard. Joe nodded. Well, that's bullshit, Matt said. So what are we doing? I called in a specialist, Matt replied. The crunch of tires on gravel announced Buddy LeBeau's arrival. His beat-up Chevy Suburban pulled into the driveway, dust billowing behind it before settling in the still air. LeBeau climbed out, a sturdy man in his 50s with weathered skin and calloused hands. He wore faded jeans, a chambray work shirt with the sleeves rolled up, and a Texas Rangers cap. Matt Barry, LeBeau said with a grin, extending his hand. Been a while. Matt shook it firmly. Appreciate you coming out on short notice. Anytime. LeBeau turned to Joe. You must be Detective Foster, Buddy LeBeau. Joe shook his hand. Heard good things about your work. LeBeau nodded toward the house. So this is the McKnight place? Heard about it on the news. Nasty business. That's why we called you, Matt said. Something about this scene doesn't sit right with me. LeBeau rested his hands on his belt. Well, let's see if Sam agrees with your instincts. Sam? Joe asked. My partner, LeBeau replied with a hint of pride. He's in the truck. Let me introduce you. LeBeau led them to the Suburban and opened the rear doors. Inside, secured in a custom kennel, sat a short, muscular basset hound with soulful eyes and a wagging tail. Humans have about 5 million scent receptors, LeBeau said as he reached for a folding aluminum ramp stored alongside the kennel. Sam here has over 220 million. People think bloodhounds have the market cornered on tracking, but that's Hollywood nonsense. He secured the ramp to the bumper, letting the bottom rest on the pavement. Bassets have bad backs, short legs, long bodies. No jumping for this guy. He doesn't look like much of a tracking dog, Joe observed skeptically. LeBeau laughed as he unlatched the kennel door. These ears aren't just for show, he said, gently lifting one of Sam's long, drooping ears. When he drops his head, they sweep the ground like brooms, stirring up scent particles and funneling them straight to his nose. Nature's perfect design. Sam trotted eagerly down the ramp, nails clicking on the aluminum. So you're saying he's better than a bloodhound? Matt asked, even though he'd worked with LeBeau's dogs before. Different tools for different jobs, LeBeau replied, retrieving a bright orange tracking harness from a compartment in the Suburban. Bloodhound might track farther in certain conditions, but Sam here works disturbed scenes better than any dog I've handled in 20 years. He fitted the harness around Sam's chest and shoulders. The harness tells him it's work time. Sam's demeanor changed instantly as the harness went on. The playful wiggling ceased, replaced by focused attention. His nose lifted, already sampling the air. How admissible is this in court? Joe asked. With proper documentation? Rock solid, LeBeau answered, clipping a 20-foot lead to the harness. Sam's got over 60 successful tracks that have held up in court, including 2 capital cases. LeBeau lived on 50 acres of land about an hour north of Vista Ridge. He'd built a reputation over 2 decades for training specialty dogs that served police departments across North Texas and parts of Oklahoma. This is your show, LeBeau said. We're ready when you are. The 3 men moved toward the backyard with Sam walking purposefully between them. Matt led them around the house rather than through it, preserving any potential scent trail. What have you got for me? LeBeau asked when they reached the excavated gravesite. Matt produced a sealed evidence bag containing a crumpled gray t-shirt. This belongs to Ed Black. His mother confirmed it was his. It was collected from his bedroom hamper. LeBeau nodded approvingly. Unwashed is better. More scent material. He took the bag from Matt, squatting down next to the shallow depression where Black's body had been exhumed. The hole was about 2 feet deep, its edges ragged where the crime scene team had carefully expanded it during recovery. LeBeau opened the bag carefully, keeping it low to prevent any cross breeze from dispersing the scent particles. He didn't remove the shirt completely, instead allowing Sam to stick his nose into the opening. This is science, not magic, LeBeau explained as Sam inhaled deeply. I'm letting him collect a scent profile. Dead skin cells, sweat, Bacteria, the unique smell that makes Ed Black different from every other human on the planet. Sam sniffed intently for about 20 seconds, his nostrils flaring as he processed the information. Sam, find, LeBeau commanded, his voice shifting to a deeper, more authoritative tone. The change in the dog was immediate and dramatic. Sam's entire body tensed, his nose dropping to the excavated soil. He circled the gravesite twice, sniffing deeply, then began working in an expanding spiral pattern. Matt watched with intense interest. If Sam headed toward the garage, it would support the official theory that McKnight had killed Black inside and then buried him in the yard. Sam completed 3 full circles around the grave, then abruptly stopped. His head lifted slightly, testing the air, before dropping back to the ground. He pulled firmly on the lead, heading directly away from the house. He's got something, LeBeau said quietly, letting the line play out as Sam moved with increasing confidence. When he's uncertain, he works in circles. When he's locked in, he moves like this. Direct, purposeful. Sam wasn't heading toward the garage at all. The basset hound moved steadily toward the back of the property, nose to the ground, his long ears sweeping the soil just as LeBeau had described. He paused occasionally to reconfirm the scent, but never deviated from his straight-line path toward the back fence. Well, I'll be damned, Joe muttered. The fence consisted of weathered cedar posts with rusted wire strung between them. Sam reached it and didn't hesitate, dropping to his belly and wiggling underneath a loose section of wire. Whoa, hold up, LeBeau called, reeling in some slack to prevent the lead from tangling. The 3 men picked their way over the fence, LeBeau passing the handle to Matt while he negotiated the crossing, then taking it back. Beyond the fence stretched about 100 feet of open field, scrubby grass and patches of bare dirt leading to Solomon Street, a 2-lane road that ran behind McKnight's property. Sam moved with renewed certainty now, pulling harder against the lead. LeBeau had to lengthen his stride to keep pace as the dog moved in a direct line across the field. He's targeting human scent that matches the sample, LeBeau explained as they walked. But this isn't like tracking a living person. He's picking up on skin cells, clothing fibers, hairs, microscopic evidence that was transferred from the body to the ground. After how many days? Joe asked skeptically. Scent doesn't vanish overnight, LeBeau replied. Under these conditions, no rain, moderate temperature, we're good for at least a week, maybe longer. The real question is whether anyone walked through here since and contaminated the trail. When they reached Solomon Street, Sam's behavior changed. Instead of charging straight across, he began working back and forth along the shoulder, his nose sweeping methodically across the gravel. After about 20 seconds of this pattern, he sat down abruptly, looking up at LeBeau. Good boy, LeBeau said, pulling a small treat from his pocket and offering it to Sam, who took it gently from his fingers. Very good boy. What just happened? Joe asked. That's his alert. He tracked the scent to this spot and it stopped, LeBeau said, scanning the roadside. In his training, this means the subject entered a vehicle. The scent trail ends here. At least the ground trail does. Matt nodded, just like I thought. Can I ask what we just proved? LeBeau said, reeling in the lead as Sam happily chewed his reward. Matt pointed back toward the disturbed gravesite, just visible in the distance. We're supposed to believe that McKnight killed Ed Black in his garage, then buried the body in his backyard. If that were true, Sam would have tracked from the grave to the garage. But he didn't. He tracked to the road, Joe said, understanding dawning on his face. Exactly. Someone transported the body here by vehicle, Matt continued, sweeping his hand toward the road. Parked right about here, carried the body across this field over the fence, and buried it in McKnight's yard. They wanted us to find it there. Joe frowned, working through the implications. That's a lot of effort, Matt. We're talking about carrying a dead weight across 100 feet of open ground, over a fence, then digging a grave. Why not just dump him somewhere easier? Because this was deliberate, Matt said. This was staged to implicate McKnight. The grave wasn't that deep, LeBeau observed, kneeling to examine the roadside more carefully. Just enough to conceal the body until someone found it. Not a serious attempt at permanent burial. Exactly, Matt said. We were meant to find Ed Black. The killer wanted us to believe McKnight did it. LeBeau stood up, brushing dirt from his knees. Well, Sam confirms your theory. The body came from this direction, not from the house. Joe sighed, looking down the empty road. Your sister and the brass aren't going to like this. The official word is we got our guy. I'm aware, Matt said, smiling.